Must maximize the benefit of mining. So we can start the classes. Technical, please, can you just run through the basics? Yeah, you are welcome to the 47th edition of Women in Mining classes, which we tagged Wimti, that's Women in Mining in Nigeria Training Institutes. For now, like we said, this is the 47th edition. And our intention when this program started was to ensure that knowledge, as much as possible, even though technical, gets to the lay people, laymen and women, students, everybody who is interested in the mining sector. So today we'll be looking expressly into development, digitalization, the essence of tracking, the essence of tracing mineral resources. Digitalization has taken over everything we do, even our lives. So it is essential that we do this. And to do that, let's quickly introduce and run through what Women in Mining is all about for people who are joining for the first time. Women in Mining Nigeria is a leading nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing gender equality and empowering women across all levels of Nigerian mineral exploration and mining sector. With a robust network of over 5,000 members spanning 27 states, I think now we are 28. We are a powerful force driving positive change throughout the nation. We are committed to creating a more inclusive and equitable mining industry where women have equal opportunities to thrive and contribute their valuable skills and expertise. We achieve this through a multifaceted approach that includes capacity building programs like this, which we are doing, advocacy initiatives.
We can't hear you, ma.
What happened? Why are you not hearing me?
We can hear, ma. We can hear now, ma.
Are you hearing now? Is everybody hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you now, ma.
Okay, so continue. So yeah, we just keep on rolling the slide. Since this, at least the slide is showing our vision and mission, empowering women, transforming the mining industry to respect the rights of all. Our mission is to foster a supportive community that inspires innovation, sustainability, and excellence, driving positive change for women and the mining sector as a whole. Yes, our brand name is Women in Mining, but over time, we are happy that issues are being resolved, barriers are being removed, and now we are more, we pursue what we call masculinity agenda, where everybody, you understand, is encouraged to participate in what we do. Some of our notable projects are gender mainstreaming, girls for mining, Mines to Mind, GGCE, which will be coming up November this year, where we promote trade. And about the 47th edition, Women in Mining Training Institute is the training wing of Women in Mining Nigeria. It was initiated to provide a broad range of knowledge and education on the salient issues in the mining sector, especially those bordering on mining, businesses, and economics, methods and practices, gender justice, poverty, and sustainability. And we hold our classes every third Thursday of every month, irrespective of worth. As long as we have breath and life, we make sure we hold these classes so as we don't disappoint our followers. And our usual time is 4 to 6 p.m. West African time. You can engage us on Zoom, YouTube, and you're able to download all the resources. So we encourage you to get involved as a registered member, as a volunteer, to donate and to partner. And we are grateful to some of the people who have responded to our volunteering call, and we'll be getting back to you shortly. Thank you. For the 47th edition of this program is this training is so dear to me that I'll be presenting with a very good classmate of mine. We met at British Columbia University during one of our programs. And the topic will be looking at technology to safeguard African mineral resources. I'll be taking the first one to lay the foundation, and he'll be talking specifically on his area of interest. Of course, you all have my profile, and if you don't have it, just check on LinkedIn. So I'll go straight, you understand, to the subject of today. The only thing I can tell you is that I've been so lucky to have what you call a broad-based educational background because I hunger for knowledge. So don't be surprised when you see me as a lawyer, if I have to talk as a lawyer, as a geologist, as an engineer, as a mineral economist, you understand? So I have diverse backgrounds, educational backgrounds, and I still keep learning because there's no end to learning. Thank you. So I'll go straight to my topic of today. Just give me 1 second to pull up my paper, please. And what we do is that because it's a class, we are mindful of people who use what we teach to expand their knowledge. So as much as possible, we make it detailed. And that's why we always beg our speakers, our lecturers who come on board to make sure they come with some form of presentation, which people can use again as reference materials to develop whatever. And in talking and on this particular subject, we cannot witness what is happening all over the world, especially for people who are my friends. For some 1 month now, I've been talking on this subject on LinkedIn, where Africans must sit up to actually protect their territory. Everything has been weaponized. Mineral resources is being weaponized, and the geopolitical tension is rising everywhere. So do we continue to waste our resources? And unfortunately, mineral resources are finite resources. Once they are gone, they are gone. So it is very, very important for every one of us to jealously guard our resources. I know that sometimes we are lucky to have, please, can we have admin to be active in admitting people? Sometimes we are lucky to have some of our administrators, policy decision makers join this program. And I pray that some of them will be here today again to join, even though I know that there are 1 or 2 events going on, especially in my own country. So the truth about it is that any nation now that wants to develop must up their game on technology. And this is why I made efforts to try to reach out to younger generation, because it's like even mining itself is now gradually being segmented. You have the old one who did a lot of research, going to the field, documenting things, writing things in books. Now we have the younger generation that are coming on board, you understand, who can pick up those facts, you understand, and come up with technology to be able to manage, to be able to monitor, to be able to protect what we have. And that is why when somebody says, oh, I read geology, I read geophysics, I read geochemistry, I read economics, I don't know what to do. I said it's because you have not done sufficient research. When you do research, you will find how things are now being converted, you understand, to digital tools. So the topic for today that I'll be talking on, I'm looking at an overview, diverse tracing techniques and their application in the mining chain, ensuring transparency and sustainability, because transparency is very important for us to be able to make money, to be able to develop and bridge the infrastructural gap in Africa, to be able to put food on our table, for us to stop being disgraced all over the world as if we are nobody. And then sustainability, to make sure that the resources we have are prolonged, could last to protect the interest of the younger generation, you understand, who are coming behind us. Those things are very critical. And then the agenda is simple. I'll be looking at the overview, introduction, tracing techniques, challenges, advantages of traceability, and conclusion. This map has been shown over and over and over to show the distribution of mineral resources across Africa. Africa is so rich in mineral resources. And remember, this particular subject is not limited to Africa. It's a global topic. But I'm zeroing in as much as possible to the continent, you understand, for us to see our gaps and where we need to strap up our belts. So Africa is rich in diverse minerals, so we don't even have to talk about the minerals again, but you can see the core ones there: iron ore, bauxite, zinc, gold, copper, tantalum, titanium, all this, phosphates you have, palladium, platinum, everything, we have them. And we rank first, even in some of these deposits globally. So the issue is not there. You can always pick up any literature to find the abundant resources we have. So we have them in abundance. The outline, the growing need for traceability. The modern mining value chain is complex and global. So why do we have to even trace anything? Why are we interested in knowing what we have? Number one, increased security demands that we know what we have. You understand? So that we can say this material is from us. Over the weekend, there was a gem show that I attended, and I can see some stones, you understand, being sourced. There's no two places that has tantalite in Africa. There are stones that immediately you see the stone, this stone could come from so and so place. So it's good to know. Then consumers now, because of the education and the knowledge that has gone out, you have a class of consumers who are inquisitive to know the very source of whatever they are getting. And I just quickly want to remind us of the cocoa drama. You can see when Richard Quest did his documentary in CNN, I think 2 years or something ago, that transformed the business, because the real farmers who are the organic generator of cocoa are wretched, are poor. The farmer in my community, and that's why their children sold their cocoa farms and relocated to Indiana and all over the place, because they weren't making money. The man went to Ivory Coast and saw, and he now said, oh, chocolate end is making so much money. But the cocoa farmer who is growing that, without cocoa, you cannot make chocolate, because if you make anything, you'll be making synthetic chocolate, which will be harmful to your health. And that transformed the thing. So that ethical desire and request is changing things. People want to know the diamond on their ring. Where did it come from? The sapphire on their ring, the emerald on their ring. You understand? Where is it coming from? So consumers are asking questions. Then investors, because of the standards, the standardization all over the world, if you look at the ESG has become a major factor. Investors, you understand, to secure loans are tied to ESG rating. So they need to know where their products are coming from. How was the environment? Was the process of extraction? Did it conform to standards? Then regulators themselves, that is, regulators in each country, you understand, because of the human rights abuses, because of the environmental devastation as a result of mining, are asking questions. And then thank God for civil society. Civil society like ours, you understand, are advocating for accountability, that, oh, you just have to be accountable to what you are taking. So these are some of the reasons, you understand, why traceability is important. And as we delve further, you will see and be able to link up these slides. We said Africa is extremely rich in resources and is a key supplier of critical minerals to a lot of industries. And you can see lots of them now moving. Amazon has moved to Zambia. Bill Gates have moved to Zambia, to try and acquire copper, to try and acquire lithium. You see what is happening in DRC, So everybody is moving because they need it for their electronics, the telephone we carry, the pesa we carry, everything that uses chips. Automotive industry, where everybody is going for electric cars, infrastructural development, and the green energy. I hope soon the whole of Africa will be filled with avocado plant, because of the source of plant energy coming from it. So this is an interesting dimension. But why is Africa a challenge? The supply chain is not linear at all. It's very opaque, very dark. Ask who are the major suppliers of rubies? Who are the major suppliers of amethyst? Hardly will you know them. So the path from extraction to end use is complex because it changes hands. It changes hands and it lacks transparency and it involves multiple global actors. Even in a community alone, you can hardly get to the real source of who got out or who extracted out a particular mineral resources. You have layers and layers, and that is why we thank God for AMDC and African Union, what they are doing, you understand, to address those issues. The key challenges as a result of this opaque supply chain. The opacity fosters risk in accountability, sustainability, and fair value distribution. We don't have to deal on this again. Urgent need. There's the need for traceability systems to ensure minerals drive sustainable development and prevent conflict, corruption, and environmental harm. If you quickly look at just what is happening in Plateau State, for instance, if you overlap the map of the areas rich in mineral resources to where crises are, you will find out that the crises are around mineral-rich areas, Bokos. Why? Because of the mineral resources there. So that conflict is just to cover up because conflict is going on and you are mining. And I tried to show, unfortunately, I did not capture it very well. But when you look at, I just did one supply chain. Look at jewelry, how jewelry moves. You understand? You can look at the main jewelry destination. You understand how it moves. You pick a particular jewelry in a mine in Madagascar. That's just tracking rubies. You pick the rubies from Madagascar, see the trend, see how it moves. You understand to where it is polished, to eventually the wholesale gem dealer, to the manufacturer, then to the jewelry store. That's a particular tracing. That's for and those are for responsible ones. But what of those that are not linear? Because it is not linear as you look at it. You can see how it's moved. Then what of those that you cannot even trace? You understand that it's not recorded. Because these ones are done by IMA and all that, you understand, who are committed to responsible sourcing and tracking. I don't know, maybe Jennifer is here because these are their areas of expertise. Then, so I try to show the stages from mines to markets for you to know what it entails. Mining to markets, we've done. I just picked this from one of my old presentation where I did something to do with, I think, my opportunities in the mining sector or something. So you look at mining. We don't have to go into what it takes to mine because to mine, feasibility studies and all exploration before you come into your mining, the type of mining, the mining processing, then the metallurgical processing, when after mineral processing, the metallurgical processing, material fabrication, product manufacture, consumption, disposal. Then from this now, because of circular economy, you find even in I'm sure in every city, you see people picking up materials and everything. You talk of recycling and this thing is reused and then the cycle continues. So that is mines to market. But how do we have statistics? Do we have how we can trace these things? Most of them are lost in the process. Nobody have information. And that is where you have revenue leakage, illicit trafficking, and all that. So the significance of what we are trying to do today is the intricate global mining value chain necessitates robust traceability for African mineral resources to ensure fairness. Fairness, number one, most of the time when you go to a village like Kiana, you go to a village, you go to a state like Lafia, you go to that is in Nasarawa State, you go to all those lungus, all those corners, you understand? You go to Mambila, where Sapphire is taken, where Emerald is picked. You go to, I'm trying to remember the place in Kaduna where I went to. You won't believe the emerald we saw there. And then you start asking yourself, those villagers are still wretched because some of them don't even know the value. Somebody just come and pack those things away from them and give them token. You understand? There's no fairness in it. Sustainability, and then these things are packed, nobody pays tax, nobody does anything, and it is crudely mined and everything. It cannot stand. We cannot continue like that. Then we need to prevent exploitation. So the reasons for these things is, number one, you want to combat illicit financial flows and corruption, which I've said. Then opacity enables illegal transactions and revenue loss. You can't overstretch all these things I've mentioned. There are some of then the traceability will track origin, volume, value, hindering, and concealment. And that is why African Continental Free Trade Agreement, because when it was introduced initially, various committees were set up, and I was on the committee on origin. You understand? Where how do you ascribe values along the value chain if you don't learn to trace? If a mineral resources is mined in Nigeria and is taken to Nairobi, Kenya, you understand? In Nairobi, Kenya, it is processed. After processing, it goes to maybe London or to Morocco or anything, and it ends up in the shop. How do you ascribe values? How do you trace? So all these things are important. So increases, please, can you be admitting? I'm admitting and talking. I think it's a bit challenging, Pelumi. So increases transparency, strengthens governance, and reduces misappropriation. So addressing conflict minerals is even very, very important, what you call the 3 TGs. That's tin, tungsten, tantalum, and gold. You know, these are and when you look at where serious crises are in Africa today, those are where those minerals are. So it is good for us to be able to get to the bottom, to be able to trace them. Then, and you use due diligence, because this one will help to track and even render the minerals useless in their hands, because if they know where they are coming from, you will remember what the Kimberley process is all about. You'll find out that they cannot sell those things. And then if they don't have the ability to sell, you understand, then they cannot make money. Remember, you can see the ban the world try to put on Russian mineral resources, even though I don't know how effective it is, and it's because of these gaps. If the gaps are effective, it will be useless in their hands, even though they have. So, and you will find out that they will be discouraged, you understand, from wasting their energy to go and start mining, because they won't be able to sell if we have effective traceable systems. Then it provides consumer assurance against conflict-linked products, because when you are buying your product, you want to be sure that, oh, the diamond I'm carrying, I'm not one of those, especially if you're a Christian or you have some measure of conscience. Oh, I'm not perpetuating evil. You understand? So consumer assurance is very, very important. Then sustainable development and environmental stewardship, because if you have any mineral resources from you and you are a buyer, you are a broker, you are sure that, oh, where I'm buying this thing, you understand, oh, they have a sound craft code, the domesticated craft code or blockchain is in place, so they know who is they know who is mining, the conditions and everything are suitable, because exploitation is unfair. Those are even the genesis, you understand, of crisis, when you have unequal people are unequally benefiting from one another, and exploitation is dominant in the lives of people. So mining operations carry considerable environmental and social consequences. Traceability includes data on environmental and social performance for assessment. Then it enables consumers to make informed decisions that support sustainable practices, aids in the oversight and enforcement of environmental regulations, guaranteeing equitable benefit distribution and local participation. A significant portion of value is often retained outside Africa. Traceability recalls the African origin and processing to advocate for value addition, monitors local community engagement to promote job creation and socioeconomic growth, enhancing investor confidence and market access. This is very important, and that is why people are calling for traceability, adhering to international standards to facilitate access to global markets. And you can see that the EU is getting so tough. You have to go and look at the new codes to see what they are demanding, what they are asking for, you understand, to be able to even access their markets. Empowering artisanal and small-scale miners. This is very important, just the exploitation we've been talking about, because if traceability is affirmed and laws back it up, you'll find out that the artisanal farmers will no longer be At 20, they are looking at like 80 years old. They will no longer be wretched. They'll be able to afford the good things of life because they will have fair value for what they've mined. And ASM plays a vital role, but it's frequently informal and at risk. And when you have all these things in place, you will have the opportunity to formalize the ASM. You'll be able to educate them. They'll be able to adopt best practices because they too they're able to appraise the benefits, you understand, from what they do because they see that they are not exploited. Inclusive traceability can help formalize ASM, like I said, enhance working conditions, and guarantee fair pricing. It links ASM to responsible supply chains, thereby empowering marginalized communities, and that makes everybody happy. So you cannot overemphasize and talk about the advantages of traceability. What is traceability itself? There is the ability to identify and track a mineral or its derivatives as it moves through the entire value chain from its point of origin to the final product, and it is possible. Just like you can trace human being, if you choose to trace human being genetically from, say, oh, this is where you come from. So you can do that for, even though they are non-living things, you can do that for minerals. Key elements of effective traceability. You want to give it a unique identification. That is, you assign a unique identifier to mineral batches or individual items. Data capture. You want to record relevant information at each stage of the value chain, e.g. location, time, actors involved, processing details, and certifications. Data storage and management. Secure and accessible systems for storing and managing traceability data, and verification and auditability. Those are the key components of traceability. Once you have this, then you can say, yes, this is effectively traced. And it's very important, the unique 4 conditions. So why is traceability challenging in mining? Because the value chain itself is very complex. It has numerous actors, intermediaries, and processing stages. So commingling of minerals, that materials, I must confess to you that when you to be able to identify and say this particular mineral comes from, because I was trying to crack my head even when I went to this conference and I was looking at some minerals that are already finished products. You see very beautiful, well-laid emerald or sapphire and everything. To know where it comes from, it has gone through several hands from point A to finished product to get to the market. So they are so mixed. You understand that identifying is a challenge if it is not cultivated from the beginning. Then artisanal and small-scale mining, often informal and lacking standardized data collection because they don't know anything. They are just after money because if they are used to being exploited, let me just make my material and sell to who I need money right now. So, oh, I have so quantity of sapphire, please have it. This is and then the guy takes it off from Madagascar, take it, and then the guy moves on. That is all. So they are not bothered about anything because, and then they themselves don't have any format of collection. Nobody has told them this is how you have to collect, this is how you have to store, this is how you have to do that. So it makes it an all-commerce market and an all-commerce business. So then you want to look at the geographical dispersion. We are still talking on why it is challenging, the geographical dispersion. Mining operations can be in remote and challenging environments where nobody can even get to. You understand? So it's only that buyer who knows that, oh, that thing is there, who wants to go there. Government officials don't even have access to that place. The communication is zero, and there are still such locations in most African countries. Then there's no standardization, inconsistent data formats, no tracking methods, nothing. Then data silos. Information are so fragmented that even within organizations, even institutions, you understand, the data are, thank God for the network that we are all having, especially in our women now. What we have created committees that has allowed serious mingling of different countries, to work together and share information. So you find out that our data is so fragmented in virtually every sector. And so this becomes a problem. Then cost of implementation, setting up traceability systems can be very challenging to our government. But that is initial capital outlay. Please, can you admit the people in the waiting room? Initial capital outlay is tough. but the benefit, the long-term benefit but most government, because of their period in government, everybody wants a quick, oh, let me do this, and get out of the place. So it makes it something not too attractive for them to do. You want to tell your people, oh, I build schools, I build roads, I built that. You understand? But this is very important in the mining sector for any government. You understand? Who wants to actually help the country and help its people. Then an overview of tracing techniques. You have three broad groups of tracing. You have what you call physical tracing, you have document-based tracing, and you have digital and technological tracing methods. So please let me repeat it again. You have physical tracing method, you have document-based tracing method, you have digital and technological-based tracing method. And I challenge quite a number of our women, our young students, that this is an area, you understand? Some will say, because when you talk about mining, I laugh. Everybody now wants to get a mining license. Everybody wants to do this. I said, do they know what it involves? Mining is not oil drilling, no, that you just take your pipe and you bring it out. It's very complex. These are areas as a consultant, you can develop yourself, up your game, get your certifications, and be an expert in. You understand? So for the digital tracking, you have key aspects of digital transformations. You have real-time location tracking. You have data management and analytics. You have digital twins and simulation. You have automation and robotics, and you have others. And just like in any other subject, you understand, any other subject, whether it's in, whether you are talking of, whether it's in agriculture, in anything, they are basically the same thing. It's all hinged on the same principle. It's a question of application that differs. And as we explain further, you will see how it is applied to our own geology and how somebody else can apply it to agriculture. Somebody can apply it to his mining. You understand, different things. So in physical training techniques, I don't know if Professor Ako is here. He will know that I remember when I was doing my first degree thesis, you understand, atomic mass spectrometer in Professor, what's his name now? Imam Boren's office. He was the one, because he was working. He was working with some other he was working on international projects. He was able to buy an atomic mass spectrometer. So I will leave geology department, to go to biological sciences department to use the mass spectrometer to analyze my data. So chemical fingerprinting, that's isotopic analysis. You use mass spectrometer and different versions of it are up now. How does it work? Analyzing the unique isotopic, you remember at least the periodic table. Now you want to look at the isotopic ratios of those elements. I won't go into the technical thing. I just want to know that there's a process like that. But for people who are interested, I put it up so that they will know that their career, their lines, their professional lines they can pursue, you understand, after their first degree as a geologist, or, oh, I'm a miner. Yeah, this makes you as a certified miner, you understand? But you are just doing consultancy and you are focusing on things like this. Application, what does it do? It gives you, because when you do that, it gives you the geological origin of a mineral. Because if you look at the likes of Professor Rahman, if you take a mineral to him and you come up with the isotopic analysis, he'll be able to tell you this particular, or Professor Okunlola, he will tell you that this particular one is from something of the younger granite zone, because of the varied data they've collected over the years and they've analyzed. So they know the characteristics of materials from the younger granites, from the older granites, metamorphic rocks, in so area. So that is the application of this. So it gives accurate origin determination. But limitations can be costly, require specialized experts and equipment. Like I said, atomic mass spectrometer is not cheap. You understand? And because it's not cheap, you know what it means. So we pray to God Almighty to continue to make our economy robust, to be able to engage in some of these things, rather than be wasteful things that has no significant importance on the lives of people. Then physical tagging. Physical tagging is very, very, these are things we see. Physical tagging comes in different ways. where you can use the RFID, that's radio frequency tagging method. And what do? You put, I'm sure we all read about a bird sometimes that I think flew from one Australia or something, and they found him in another far continent. But they were able to do that because there's a chip, you understand, attached to that bird. So, and that's everywhere he's getting to, that bird, that particular species of bird is sending signals on knowing. The same thing you can do to your rock samples. You can tag in that way, you understand, to be able to move your materials along the line. So you can use the RFID, you can use microparticles, and you can do physical tagging, labeling, but it could be cumbersome. So tracking a specific batches through processing and transportation, relatively low cost for some methods, can be easily scanned. But the limitation, tags can be lost or it can be tampered with. For example, that board, if somebody catch the board, I use an example, and decided to eat maybe something like we normally quickly do, when we see any animal, you understand? That is the end of that thing. And likewise, this one too can be lost in the process, understand, of packing, transportation, and everything. So it is good, it's cheap, but it is not something you can beat your chest to say 100% delivery you will get. Then document-based tracking technique. That's chains of documentation, which is what we do normally. We are very good with paper invoices, certificates of origin, transport documents. We pack everything together. These are traditional method of doing transactions, but it can be very cumbersome. Advantages: widely understood and implemented, because but it's prone again to human error. You understand? Fraud and loss, lacks real-time visibility, certification and audits. Independent third-party assessments verifying compliance with specific standards related to origin, ethical, just like the Responsible Minerals Initiative, Fairmind, then IMA. Those are organizations that are involved in all that. Then advantages: it builds trust and credibility, encourages the implementation of best practices, ensuring confidence among downstream stakeholders regarding responsible sourcing, but can be expensive and require significant time investment. Depends on the auditing processes. Effectiveness may lack detailed real-time monitoring. Digital and technological tracing techniques. Now for digital, and we see it in most of the products we buy now, we have barcodes and QR codes. You understand? Barcodes and QR codes. That is where you just scan the thing and the details on that, the details comes up. Even these days, even a typical example of barcodes or QR codes, on television now, somebody is placing an advert and he wants to give you all the information. He say, capture that code and all the information comes out. And the same thing you can do for all these rocks, all these minerals. Tracing inventory, capturing basic data at transfer points. Advantage is low cost, easy to implement, but again, limited data storage capacity. Requires physical scanning, because you have to be scanning at every point in time, everywhere it gets to, and the data can be falsified. It can be falsified because it's input, it's whatever you input in, garbage in, garbage out. So it's whatever you input in. Then you have the radio frequency identification, RFID. RFID is just using radio waves to automatically identify and track tagged materials, like I said, like I used the example of the board. Then if the application is inventory management, tracking movement within processing facilities and warehouses. It enables automatic data capture, improved efficiency, but higher cost, but is higher than barcode. Then the GPS, that's the global positioning system, where you take the GPS position of an item, and we use that relatively in even securing our licenses. You understand? We use that in getting licensing in Nigeria. They tell you go and take the GPS location. But that can be applied beyond just using it to acquire licenses and everything. You can equally use it to track minerals. GPS can be used for anything. After all, it's the same. The GPS system is what we use in identifying where we are going to. You get to Abuja, you want to go to one odd street you've never had the name. Bring out your phone, track. You understand? Once the GPS location is what they use in imputing that location you're able to go to on your phone. So it's based on the same thing. So tracking the location of mineral shipment and monitoring environmental conditions, e.g. temperature, humidity. You understand? Then ensure secure transportation, because verifying delivery, everything will be detailed for you. But limitation, it requires network connectivity, potential for data privacy concerns. So we can see why Internet of Things is very important. Then blockchain technology. Blockchain technology we introduced it, but unfortunately, women in mining does not have the capacity to float it alone, where we try to introduce it among one of our cooperatives. And what do you do with everything from the air you breathe, if possible, you record. You understand? Real-time recording. You record those things. Who is the owner of this mine? Where is this mine located? Who mined at what time? Everything. And you are imputing right away, and the message is passing. That's what blockchain is. So you cannot change anything. Once you impute something in that data, that's what is immutability of data. So it's very good. And if you look at the people who canvass for domestication of craft code, you understand? That is what they are talking about among mining cooperatives. It will help them a lot, but you have to build up their capacity to be able to utilize it. Data analytics and artificial intelligence. Thank God for the era of AI. These are the ones I caught in the program, in my degree work that I did. How it works: analyzing large data sets collected over various tracing techniques. You understand? Like this to identify patterns, anomalies, and risk over time. So because of the volume of data you have, is able to detect potential instances of illegal mining fraud, because they already know, the AI. And that's why when you go to ChatGPT, you say, do one particular thing. Because of the large array of data, they're able to do it to almost 99% accuracy. The same thing happens here. So, but it requires, the limitation is it requires that robust data collection for you to be able to even initiate the principle of data analytics. So it is a very good one, but I believe with time we will get there, especially with the unification that I'm beginning to foresee in Africa. And I pray that this unification that is being driven by AU, especially in the mineral sector, they call it, at least we dovetail in Agenda 2063. I pray we'll have been able to wake up appropriately, especially with all these humiliations that are coming left, right, and center. You understand? To be able to get to where we are going. So applications across mining value chains. In the extraction, that is now, we've looked at the various types. Which ones are most suitable in which area? For extraction, geochemical fingerprinting for origin of verification is very important. Physical tagging for batch identification at the mine site is important. GPS tracking is important. Jesus, I'm just admitting blindly. Oh. Here comes my president. I hope, Zenzi, you are welcome. So, processing and sorry, please. I'm sorry, I digressed. Yeah. So applications across the mining value chains. Applications across the mining value chains. Extraction, like I said, geochemical fingerprinting for origin verification is very important. Physical tagging, very important. And GPS, because we've explained how it works. Then processing and refining. RFID for tracking materials within facilities. Blockchain for recording, processing, and data analytics. Very important. Then for transportation and logistics, you can't do but not use your GPS, because even the GPS to get the location, to get the ship, you understand, to monitor the ship and to monitor the security. Then Internet of Things, that is IoT sensors for environmental condition monitoring, is very important because you want to know, because especially for those that are in powder form, you understand, you want to know the humidity of the environment where you are taking your product. That will help you in the kind of material you need to use in packaging your mineral resources. Then blockchain for secure documentation of transfers as it moves along the path. Then manufacturing, of course, we see it every time, labeling, QR codes, or RFID to track the origin of mineral components in finished products. Then blockchain for providing consumers provenance information, because the QR code is even very important for manufacturers. You know, when you buy jewelry, if you buy the real correct jewelry, you know, your guarantee is for life. It's for life. So if anything happens, so the jeweler too must be able to track, to ensure, because your record is permanently with them for life from generation to generation. And even when that jewelry passes from generation to generation, you understand, they know that this thing is from me. And now even another standardization is coming up. I don't know, I know it's been discussed in the expert meeting we went for, where they looked at it and said, even jewelry now, when jewelry is spoiled and you want to, you know, you can remold and reshape, you understand, they want to start assigning code to them. Then recycling and end-of-life management, tracing the origin of recycled materials, in fact, to ensure responsible sourcing and prevent the re-entry of illegally sourced materials. You see why it is very important. And the UN, you understand, have sanctioned, you know, they are in the process of ratification of that particular one, to say it's very important. So let's look at case studies and example. I'll just run through this. A company using blockchain to track cobalt, you know, the CTT, that's from a specific mine in DRC to an electric vehicle battery manufacturer, is in place. And they have the CTT, you understand, which they use. They have the cobalt, for cobalt too, which they use. They have for tin, which they use. So this initiative using geochemical fingerprinting to identify and prevent the trade of illegally mined gold. They have a consortium of implementing RFID tags on tantalum ore bags to improve inventory management and traceability of conflict-affected materials, because these are very important for them, or else it will equally destroy their own business. Challenges and consideration for implementation. Interoperability, ensuring different tracing systems can communicate and share data effectively. Very important. Data privacy and security, protecting sensitive information collected through tracing systems. Very important. And cost and scalability, implementing solutions that are affordable and can be scaled across the entire value chain. Stakeholder collaboration, requiring buy-in and participation from all sectors in the value chain. And I keep on referring to the good works being done by AWIMA, you understand, because with the committee, we'll be able to table common problems before African Union and say, these are the issues. How do we collaborate, you understand, to be able to tackle some of these issues, especially as regards gender? Because you will know that all through that I've discussed this, I did not say anything about gender. Because it's part of the resources, human resources, that you need to trace and track. But because we have talked about gender over and over, so I'm really not talking about that. That's why we call for sex disaggregated data, because that we did talk about who are the women in the mines, in what capacity are they, what are they doing in the mines, you understand? So you want to look at their age distribution. You will not want to look at the positions they are. Are they all laborers? Are they this and that? So you must be able to track, because it equally helps the company to grow. So all these informations are very important. You want to look at the men that are working. Are they all experts? Are they all expatriates? Okay, in Kenya, for instance, okay, all the mining companies here, they are 70% of them all experts. What happens then? The 30% that are where, at what level are they? What are they doing? We must be able to track to enhance decision and so that right decisions are taken to address injustice, because all these things dovetail, you understand, into helping and preventing poverty, because you take resources from people, and once those resources are taken, they are never coming back to the people again. And then that means they've lost that opportunity. And for every crude materials you take away from Africa, you have shipped more than 10 jobs with that raw materials you took with you. So it is important. Documentation and tracing is very important. Then data standardization. Establishing common data formats and protocols are important. Again, we must give kudos to AU through AMDC. Verification and trust. Developing robust mechanisms to verify the accuracy and integrity of traceable data. Very, very important. And again, that is why I said, for our younger generation, especially, who are talking, oh, we don't have job, we don't know what to do. There are so many areas that are opening up every day. And that is why I'm amused when I see women or anybody killing themselves or rivaling themselves over nothing. The field of mining is like an ocean filled with resources and opportunities. You understand? You can wake up and say, see, I want to be an expert. Just one of these. You can just be a digital expert. You understand? That is just all you use is digital tracing, and people will know you for it. And you do that. There's one woman in South Africa that met her. You understand? That's what she does. And companies go to, in fact, you call her, she doesn't even have time for you. And so many other people can come up and do certifications and start doing things like that. Then, of course, it addresses ASM challenges, tailoring solutions to specific contexts and limitations of ASM and small-scale mining. Examples of digital platforms. Digital platforms, Deaf World Bank, if you go there, you know, Deaf World Bank, you know, I knew that they collaborated with Awima at inception. You understand? Where they were able to get volumes and volumes of data, and blessing from Awima was seconded, you understand, to work with them. So we were pumping in data, you understand, to them. And so so all over Africa now, they get so much data. So provides data and insight into ASM operations, mineral production, and trade. Then you have the ASM tracker, you know, which monitors operations and sales. If you are writing a report here, you want to do anything, if you Google and you look at ASM tracker, you get all this information. MineSite is another platform, provides into and allows for sharing. MineSpider provides platform to trace raw material. If you want to know the movement of more raw materials, just log on MineSpider, you will get all the information. The Percepto provides an automated inspection. You understand? So in IMSICON, Mesos and Smart Tag, all these ones are platforms you can access to get some of all the information you want. So they are existing platforms, not that somebody is just creating them. Challenges in implementing traceability in the African context. Implementing effective traceability systems across the complex and often informal African mining landscape presents several challenges. Informality of ASM. You know, right now we know the demography of our ASM. We don't know them. You understand? Some people are pushed into the sector as a result of what I call pull and push factor. Oh, I'm hungry. Let me just carry my jig island and maybe I will find a gemstone today. You understand? Or something. So some of them don't even know what they mine. You understand? They just make sure you will see them post on some platform like Zamfara. If you go to Zamfara, you see them post, what is this? You understand? I remember somebody got a colored glass sometimes and brought it and thought she has gotten something special. If you get to my house in Abuja, you see quite a number of these samples. Some people, I just laugh. I said, this is nothing, sir. You want to carry it or something. So it is like that because they are informal. They are not educated. And so extension services is very critical and very germane to be able to help these people. Lack of infrastructure and technology. We have limited digital infrastructure and technological capacity in some regions. And this hindered the adoption of tracking systems. Without electricity, most of these tracking systems cannot work. Without equipment, most of them cannot function. So it's a challenge. Data gaps and standardization. What are your collection methods? For instance, because standardization is very key. If you are collecting samples, at what intervals are you? Because you must always compare apple for apple. And what's your profiling standards? How are you collecting your data? You understand? At what intervals are you collecting data? Under what condition are you storing your data? What are you using to process your data, especially for other associates like geophysics and other things associated with it? What are you using to process your data? You understand? All these things are very important. Complexity of supply chains, we've talked about that. So many under the table thing because it's very opaque. Then cost of implementation. Then the political will and governance. Our leaders are always after quick wins, quick victory, to say they did this, they did that. You understand? So people are not probably interested. If you make a presentation like this to a governor or to a minister or something, might not be able to see it, except the person is a technical person. It keeps, what is all these things? Whereas this is the foundation. Your goods cannot even come to EU and attract the correct value. Your goods cannot come to America and attract the correct value. No wonder, you understand, this our wonderful mother from Africa, what's her name? Chimba something, the former AU commissioner in African Union, who representing African Union in United Nations, who cried out to say they bought uranium at 8 cents in Niger, and they are selling it at how much? On very high astronomical value outside, because we don't add value. We don't have information. That person buys, reprocesses, and gives all the information that is needed. So we need to be able to do all these things to make sure we are where we should be. The future of traceability in mining, we need to increase adoption of digital technologies, greater focus on interoperability and data sharing, integration and regulatory frameworks must be standardized. And then my conclusion, towards a more transparent and sustainable mining value chain, diverse training techniques offer powerful tools to enhance transparency and sustainability in the mining value chain. The selection of appropriate techniques depends on the specific mineral context and objectives. Collaboration, standardization, and technological innovation are key to overcoming implementation challenges. By embracing robust traceability, the mining industry can build trust, mitigate risk, and contribute to a more responsible and ethical future. In the face of a complex and global mineral resource value chain, the need for robust traceability system is increasingly urgent for Africa. It is not merely a technical exercise, but a fundamental requirement for promoting transparency, accountability, sustainability, and ultimately ensuring that Africa's minerals wealth serves as a catalyst for genuine and equitable development. Because without that, we will continue to wallow in poverty. We will continue to be seen as a poor country. By embracing innovative tracking technologies, fostering collaboration across the value chain, and strengthening regulatory frameworks, African nations can navigate the complexities of the global markets and harness the power of traceability to combat illicit activities, promote responsible practices, and secure a more prosperous and sustainable future for their people. The journey towards greater transparency in mineral supply chain is a long one, but it's a necessary one for Africa to truly benefit from its natural resources endowment in the 21st century. And on this note, I want to call on the first here to be a champion, to be an ambassador, for us to cry out to our various governments, to our various people on the need for traceability. If not, the current complexity of weaponization of minerals will sink us further into poverty, because these people are coming to tell us they are investing. You understand? We are not even in their boardroom. They put their likes, because there are some of us that are their likes. They put them in their boardroom. You understand? And then we don't have any information. But if we have them as an official code of the country, then we can track without being in their boardroom. We can act and we can make money to turn our lives around and give ourselves the good things of life as a continent. Once again, I want to say thank you all for the opportunity to talk to you today on this subject that I'm so passionate about. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was a very good presentation, and I really liked your exploration into going into what is now happening in modern technologies, IoT, and many other aspects which are actually helping us to know where our minerals are coming from. And that's a very, very important area that you touched on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clever. We're indeed very grateful to you, for coming. And I'll seize this opportunity to run through your profile because you'll be coming in as the second speaker. But I think it's very important to lay the broad background so that when you are speaking, people will be able to flow because traceability is a relatively new area in the mining sector. Clever Sitol is a gemstone consultant with over 18 years of experience in the mining industry. He holds an MSc in Applied Entrepreneurship and Business Management and a BEng in Mining Engineering and Mining Processing. Clever worked as a mineral evaluator in Zimbabwe for 13 years, contributing significantly to the country's mining development. He served as head gemologist for a USAID Gemstone Value Addition project in Afghanistan with DIA LLC USA, where he coordinated the establishment of the Silk Road Heart Gemology Laboratory and Lapidary Center to empower local artisans and enhance the gemstone value chain. An accredited gemologist, he studied at renowned institutions, including the Gemological Institute of America, HRD Antwerp, Indian Diamond Institute, Swiss Gemological Institute, and others in Spain, Canada, South Africa, and Israel. Clever is passionate about sustainable mining practices and strengthening ethical global gemstone supply chains. Mr. Clever, we welcome you and we look forward to you dishing out what you know how to do best. I want to use this opportunity to thank my president. I saw her, give honor to whom honor is due. I think Zenzi checked in sometimes when I was trying to speak and I couldn't break my conversation. So once again, all of you present, I can see Faith, I can see Mambisa, Mapelo, every one of you, we welcome you today. And we hope together we will shape Africa. Thank you. Yeah, you have the floor. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I don't know, are you playing the presentation from your side or from my side? Okay. Thank you so much. And it's quite important that you laid the foundation for this workshop today. And it's good. Actually, you had to lay it very well. And it actually fuses into what I want to talk about today, which is very, very important as well when we look at the issue to do with traceability and where gemstones are being sourced from. So briefly, that is my profile, and I shall share the slide for all of us, and also I shall give you my contacts so that we can continue further discussions if there is need for that. Thank you. We can go to the next slide. Yes, so for the brief introduction, as you can see there, the origin of gemstones is very, very, very crucial. We need to know where stones are being sourced from. There is an identity to every stone, which makes it very unique. Because how do we do this tracing? We have got several techniques that we use. Like what Dr. Janet was talking about, we mainly use the chemical elements. The chemical elements give us the clue as to where gemstones or diamonds or anything, or even any kind of mineral is coming from. So that's where you have a situation where they are now going to have what we call a systems of warranty, where they are going to start tracing diamonds, gemstones, or any other kind of mineral to the origin as to where it's coming from and who is extracting what and all that. And there are certain institutions that actually do all that. You can have the Gemological Institute of America. Sometimes there is also what they call the SSEF, in Switzerland, and I was very lucky to train with both institutions. The SSCF in Switzerland, they do what they call traceability analysis, and they can actually monitor everything that is coming from different sources, and they work together with the International Minerals Association, which is a worldwide body under the United Nations. Next slide. Yes, so why is traceability, why is origin very, very important? Mainly it's to do with the economic value. Because when we are extracting, there is an economic benefit that we need to realize out of all the activities that we are doing. So we have got some important sources. The important sources that we have, I just had to come up with the important sources which are very prominent in our space. For example, in gemstones, we have got what we call Zambian emeralds, which have got a unique identity, and many of them, they do have what we call the bluish undertone color, which actually distinguish them from the Colombian emeralds. Though, of course, the Colombian emeralds are more expensive than the Zambian emeralds, but the Zambian emeralds have got a distinct color, which distinguishes from the Colombian emeralds. And also, there are issues to do with ethical practices, which have also attracted the international buyers when it comes to gemstones extraction in Zambia. Because there is a company called Gemfields, which is actually mining there, and they've actually what I can say is they've put up a system where they can be in a position to extract ethically their gemstones, and it's easy because they are also listed on the it must be London Stock Exchange, something like that. They are also listed there. They are also listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. So they are also able to attract investors to their mining operation. They are also able to raise capital and do many other things. So that's the economic benefit of tracing where origin is coming from. Then also aspects to do with the global politics around gemstones. When it so happens that you are able to trace your gemstone, you can ring around certain issues, certain barriers to trade. We call them barriers to trade because these are hindrances that you are going to be finding along the value chain of minerals and also gemstones in particular. Next slide. There is the Colombian emeralds. As I said, there is a distinct phenomenon with these with these gems, with these emeralds. They are the best in terms of quality in the world. They are the best, and many of the royal, I can say, those people who have got status in society, kings and celebrities, they usually want to have those Colombian emeralds. But these emeralds are actually being sourced in a way which is very somehow controversial. Because I think at one point, many of us are familiar with the wars that were happening in Colombia, where certain armed groups were actually controlling the mines. So it's still happening even up to today. And recently, there was one director who used to work with Fura Gem who was shot and killed. These are the things that are actually happening with the Colombian emeralds, but they remain a very important source. So in the hierarchy of emeralds, we do have Colombian emeralds being on top, Zambian, Afghanistan emeralds coming second. They come from an area called Pangsha. and the Zambian emeralds, which come at the bottom. But right now, Zambia is actually leading in front because of the volumes that they are producing. They produce a lot of a lot of big quantities. So also the Colombian emeralds is actually being affected by a lot of illegal activities that are happening in Colombia when it comes to extraction and mining of those gemstones, and a lot of smuggling is happening around that area. Next slide. Next slide. Yes, there is another gemstone. I know. Go back a bit. There is another. Okay, just go. Okay, there is another gemstone that is actually prominent. There is the Burmese ruby, where you find the pigeon blood ruby. They call it pigeon blood because of a certain. Okay, they take it from this analogy that when you kill a pigeon, the small blood droplets that come from the pigeon are actually they resemble the color from those gemstones that are coming from Burma. And there is a lot of conflict there as well in Burma, so that the trade in Burmese rubies is actually restricted. The US government actually imposed sanctions on that. So I think you shall see that as we go on, the effect why those rubies are under sanctions and what will be the net effect in terms of price and also availability on the market. The previous slide was also about the lapis lazuli, which is coming from Afghanistan. It's a unique gemstone which is particular to that area, and it only exists in two countries, if I'm not mistaken. There is another country called Turkey. It's also coming from there, but the best quality comes from Afghanistan, and it is being used for other nefarious activities, funding the Taliban and many other activities that are happening around that area. Let's go to the next slide. So the next question that is very, very important to when we analyze the origin of gemstones is why does where your gemstones come from matter? It's very important. In this area, I had to look at some aspects to do with the quality and rarity. So the quality is very important. Rarity is very important. You can have, say, for example, emerald from any place, because emerald it can be found in other places. We are not saying that it's only Colombia, Zambia, and Afghanistan or Zimbabwe that produces emeralds. You can find an emerald somewhere, but now many people in the trade, they do have, there is an attachment, what we call an attachment to the source where the gemstone is coming from. So if you are to say you are selling a Colombian emerald, for example, the gemstone fetches higher. But if you say you are selling or you are buying a gemstone from Zambia, the prices goes lower. And if you had to talk of another source, say for example, it's Nigeria, because Nigeria is not synonymous with emeralds, obviously people will become skeptical, or even sometimes people might not even accept it on the market. So that's what happened. But it doesn't mean that it is not pricey. It can as well be bought. And there are also issues to do with the authenticity and prestige, because I said gemstones come with a status. So if it so happens that you are to go on the market and say you are selling or you have bought a Kashmir sapphire, many people will know that this gemstone is coming from a certain region, which is particular with that area, and there is a status around that area. So it's very, very important that we know where a source of origin is coming from. So it's all about prestige and also status. So it's a different. I think at one point there was a movie, Blood Diamond, and another movie again. I think there was a story around Naomi Campbell, if I'm not mistaken. She sourced the stone from a certain area in Liberia there. It became an issue. Why? Because there was something that was happening in Liberia. Those diamonds were not being ethically sourced. So it's one of those issues that happen. Thank you. Go to the next slide. So there are also ethical considerations, like the way I articulated too. I was talking about diamonds, some of them being conflict diamonds, or issues to do with certification, the Kimberley processing coming in. And also there is also cultural significance around certain gemstones. Lapis lazuli, for example, it's synonymous with an area in Afghanistan. At one point, I worked in that area. I saw what was happening, and it's an ancient stone which is found in that area, and there is a significance with that kind of a gemstone. Then there are also issues to do with demand. For example, we in Africa we are very lucky. We do have a stone called Tanzanite from an area in Tanzania there, and it's synonymous with that area. And by so doing, it attracts consumers or even customers, which actually drives up the demand because of the exclusivity around that area. Can you go on the next slide? Yes, there is also considerations like the way I was trying to lay out the presentation from the start, where I say the origin has got a certain bearing on many other things. It's to do with politics. It's also to do with price. It's also to do with the demand as well. So when we look at Burmese ruby, for example, the very fact that that area is actually being controlled by armed gangs, it means there is scarcity in the market. So demand actually shoots up, and also price goes up because of a certain activity. Though, of course, it's undesirable, but this is what is happening. It's a reality. This is what is happening. And that causes a distortion in the market. Either the price goes up or the price goes down. Say, for example, right now we do have the issues around the Ukrainian war or the Russian-Ukrainian war in that part of the world. That has caused a lot of problems, especially to do with the prices of diamonds right now in the market. The prices have been actually at some point they went off, like it was like very, the small diamonds, because Russia is the biggest supplier of very small diamonds. The prices were, they also had to flood the market. The prices went down. And right now there is also scarcity. A lot of things are happening. It's very unstable. And the industry, some people in areas like in Surat in India, they're actually committing suicide because it's all lost investments. It's happening that in that area. So these are the issues that you find when a certain area or a certain market or a certain source is actually controlling the production of certain gemstones. It happens that way. Then there are also issues to do with the regulatory frameworks. The There are systems that are being implemented in terms of traceability, in terms of accountability, the Kimberley Processing Certificate, for example. And right now, there are so many institutions that are coming up with various systems of monitoring. Recently, I think you also heard about the issues to do with the US government and also the EU coming up with a system where they said all gemstones or diamonds have got to be routed via Antwerp. That's an issue. And in that kind of a regard, it's very controversial, but they said they want to monitor each and every stone so that they can be in a position to eliminate the diamonds from Russia. It's a system that they said, of course, it was going to come up with a cost. A lot of African countries had to cry and do a lot of protests around it. And right now they've shelved it. They've shelved it a bit. I think they are going to be implementing it very soon. I think when they announced it, they didn't understand the implications of what is happening, what is going to cause on the market. Because 80% of the world's jewelry is actually traded in the USA. So traders in USA there, and these are the people who control the finances of the State Department. They control the economy, that side. So Donald Trump had to see that this is an issue which was actually backfiring on his side. Next slide. So this is the geopolitical world that I was going into, where I was now talking about what's happening in terms of demand, in terms of price, global politics, instability. An example is in Afghanistan, where the political unrest affects the availability of lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli on the market is it's artificially priced. There is nothing funny about the lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is just a ornamental stone. It's an ornamental stone. It's actually carved in different shapes, but it's rare because the area in Afghanistan is controlled by the Taliban. So it's very difficult to find it on the market. Either it's smuggled out or they do funny tricks around it. And actually, when you look at diamond, for example, the price of diamond it's actually mythical. It's a mystery because it was artificially priced. Why? There is nothing special about a diamond, but it was being artificially priced because of the source where it was coming from. Many De Beers had to work out a system where they used to control nearly 100% of all diamonds trade in the world. And the way they used to do it, they used to hold back production, then artificialize the price so that it goes up, and they dish out some material, they hold back. They used to do that. But right now, it's now difficult for them because a lot of diamonds are coming from different sources. It's now not very difficult, but it's happening that right now, because of those alternative sources, they can no longer have a monopoly on diamond trade. So there are also issues to do with diplomatic relations. Here we are now going to be talking about trade embargoes, trade tariffs. Recently, Donald Trump was talking about a lot of tariffs being imposed on different countries. These are actually instruments that can be used either to lower the cost or to make the cost go very high, artificially high. So it happens to be that way. Next slide. Yes, next slide, please. So as it is being as it is happening right now in the industry. These tariffs have actually caused issues. And right now, I tell you that the US market, I saw an article recently where GIA is actually trying to now do their certifications abroad. They are now going to be installing because all diamonds that were 5 carat plus, they were actually being sent to America for certification. But now they are going to be unrolling a system where they are going to have different centers certifying their origin, certifying diamonds from where they are being sourced, either in Dubai, in Mumbai, in India, or even in South Africa. They are going to come up with a certain system of trying to do it. I don't know if it is actually going to be implementable, but it's going to impact on GIA operations, this kind of an arrangement. So where does Africa stand in all this? This is the question that is very crucial for us. So Africa occupies a pivotal position in global trade when it comes to many gemstones. Many gemstones are actually sourced from Africa. You talk of your diamonds, talk of tanzanite, talk of your tourmaline, even in Nigeria, Nigerian topaz is actually a very good gemstone that is actually in demand on the market. Talk of your garnet and many others. So that's the impact on origin, like how it is very, very crucial. When you are having an origin, it now means you can actually determine or influence how the market should shape up. Say for because this is an automatic in terms of economics. Okay, it's an automatic system where if you are holding back or having an abundance of a certain kind of a certain kind of a resource, you are able to influence the system. You are able to influence prices. You are able to influence any kind of thing. Like now, Russia, for example, is actually able to to alter the market. It's actually able to do that because you now have got a system. Right now, there is now a lot of synthetics that have flooded the market. Synthetic diamonds, because the many of the gemstones that are usually man-made, the ones that are actually made in the laboratory, you talk of your diamonds, you even talk of your emeralds and others. Let's go to the next slide. I'm sure these are the last slides. Okay, so these ones, I think Dr. Janet and guys at Women in Mining are going to be sharing them with you. But it's important that I touch on ethical considerations, which is a very crucial topic. I think it spills over into what Madame Janet was talking about, where it's important to monitor where gemstones are coming from and all minerals are coming from. Ethical sourcing and also responsible mining, which is a very crucial topic. And there are also issues to do with synthetics, because the moment that we are now talking about ethical considerations, we need to also talk about synthetics. We need to know, we need to look at, is it something genuine or is something artificial? These are the issues that we can touch on. Can I go on to the next slide? Yeah, so these are the geopolitical influences. I think I had to discuss on this. I was actually going faster than the slide. Let's go on the next topic as well. Just have to run it down. All right. There's also issues to do with demand. Because with certain gemstones, origin actually influences demand. Namibian diamonds, for example, they are also known to be having an exceptional clarity. Zimbabwean emeralds, though of course the mine is not operating right now, they used to be demanding a lot. They used to be on demand a lot, especially to do with the there's a company called Tiffany's. They used to buy these Zimbabwean emeralds, and also other jewelry makers in Australia and also in France. They used to buy these emeralds. Tanzanite, for example, I was talking of Tanzanite because of its rarity and the exclusivity to Tanzania. Nigerian topaz, it's also on demand on the market. So in conclusion, next slide. In conclusion, so it's very, very important that we highlight these the why origin is very, very important. It's to do with sustainability, ethical practices, and also issues to do with the rarity, which is going to push up either demand or to lower down demand, depending on the geopolitics that is happening around the world. So that's my conclusion, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation. If you've got any questions and any remarks, I will be willing to take them on.
Thank you so much, sir. And we are really, really excited about your presentation. And I think the presentation really flowed and dovetailed into one another, because you can see the match, that it is very, very important for us to make sure that tracing is a major component of what we do. And he now went straight talking on tracing the significance in gemstones. You understand? And which is one of the things women work on most, especially. You cannot just carry gemstones. You carry gemstones what will be what the same kind of gemstones. You carry it from Russia, and you carry same gemstones from Nigeria. You carry it to US market, for instance, you will have different values for them, even when they are the same kind, both rough, uncut. Why? Because one is known, one is defined, one has some characteristic feature. You understand? So we have to be very, very careful, you understand, to make sure we protect our industry. Right now, we want to take maybe 2 or 3 questions. If there are people who want to ask questions, you understand, it would be nice, to raise up your hands now and ask questions so that we dissect and look at it. I knew there's somebody who was saying, as an undergraduate, I don't know, maybe she's still there. She said, as an undergraduate, where can she focus on? We've talked extensively on what you want to do. It depends on an individual. You might want to take this as a career. It's a career on its own. It's a full career on its own in the industry. You might want to look at that. You might want to work, as an analyst in the sector. You might want to work as an essayist in the sector, and you might just want to focus on this and do your consultancy. Initially, it will look dry, but you build up your certifications, and I tell you that you can be engaged anywhere in the world once you are the best. So if you have any question, can you raise up your hands? Is anybody raising up their hands, because I wouldn't be able to see and pick? Is anybody raising up hands? So we want to say thank you again for today's beautiful lecture. We thank all our audience, you understand, who participated in this class today. And one thing I want us to take home is that it is not good enough for us, it is not good enough for us to be uh to continue to tamper with our minds, you understand, in an unsustainable manner, because things that are not recorded is unsustainable. Things that are not tracked are not sustainable. Things that are mined illegally are not sustainable. It will continue to promote conflict. And the West is coming up with rules that exclude us. You could see what Clever said about Dubia. Now Dubia is fighting hard because of the synthetic diamonds. And Boston is working hard and producing more and more of those diamonds. That when you get to the stores here in America, most of the diamonds you see that people call diamonds are synthetic diamonds, and they're extremely cheap and they serve the same purpose. You understand? So it is very, 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 very crucial for us to make sure we own our own industry. And the way to own our industry is to promote ethical sourcing, ethical mining of our mineral resources. So once again, on behalf of Women in Mining, I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Clever Sitol. We are extremely very grateful for the rich knowledge you have shared with us today. And for all our participants, I can see Faith Mutete, I can see Blessing, I can see, just give me a second, I can see Auntie Erelu from Florida. I can see, I know some of Abidoye. Oh, I can see Abidoye Abioshun. I'm sure you have more than enough materials to write.